Yeah, I got a restriction warning or something. Apparently, I can't talk too much politics or whatever. But yeah, we'll just end the topic there. But I'm very like unbiased, like literally unbiased. Like I have no part or say in what people do because you know, well, I'm American, I'm Asian American, right? But like my history or my past doesn't really go that far into supporting any sides. So like I'm very non-biased. You're live, not a little recommendation. Man, what the heck? I'm just giving my opinion. Genesis chapter 1 verse 20. Oh, here we go. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of the heaven. And God created great whales, and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the sea, and let the fowl multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. And God said, let the earth bring forth the living creature of his kind, cattle, and creeping things, and beasts of the earth after his kind. And it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. Man, he's using the word lot, the word creepeth a lot. Getting kind of creepy again, you know what I mean? We went from, you know, God creating the waters of the deep sea, like, the pirates, right? Now it's getting creepy because he's putting beasts on the earth for it to multiply. And God said, let us make man in our image. Okay, this is verse 26. And God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, over the cattle, over and over all the earth, and over every creeping things that creepeth upon the earth. Okay, so 26. Okay, before I go on, I just want to make a note of this, right? It says, God, let us make man in our image. So it's not singular, it's plural, right? God said, let us make man in our image. What does it mean by us? It just means that wherever God is, God wasn't by himself, right? And God said, let us make man in our image. So is there more gods? You know what I mean? Were there gods parents? Were there God children's? You know what I mean? So in some sense, this insinuates some sort of pre-mortality. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to um, just in this verse alone or in a statement, right? Some sort of pre-mortality, right? So if man wasn't in on the earth yet, God created man in our image after our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air and over the cattle and over all the earth and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Right? So some sort of pre-mortality, um, because that statement right there, because God hadn't created man yet, right? He created man after the image of us, right? So he insinuates right there that there's in wherever he's at, there's more than just himself. All right, and he said that man had dominion over all the beasts and cattle and every thing that creepeth the earth after his kind. So he created all these like animals and of the earth and animal of the seas, right? And they were creeping upon the earth, and then he created man after him, but not just him, it's us, right? So whoever he was there with, after our image and our likeness, and then he allowed him to have dominion over all everything that is living on the face of the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. Okay? So again, I think this is, you know, it's like when I say he created the pseudo earth, right? Pseudo meaning like, he's everything is um designed before he put it into motion, right? Like obviously he hadn't created the female yet, right? Because you know, um, well, when we look forward into the Bible that we know, or the Old Testament that we know, God created Eve out of the ribs of Adam, right? So the female hasn't been created yet, right? So in essence, he's just telling us about the creation. It's like a pseudo Earth, right? Or I mean, he's already created it then and here, but then in maybe the next book or whatever, right? He starts talking about or chapter two or something in Genesis. I don't know where but I think maybe when they start talking about Adam and Eve, he goes back to he's kind of like backflash to what had happened when he created man in his own image, which is you know verse 27 or something, right? Because apparently in the sixth day he created man in his image, and then male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful, multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. Okay, yeah. So I mean, this is like a summary, right? So I believe this is gonna be Yeah, it's gonna be day six. Yeah, over every living thing upon it. And God said, "Behold, I have given you everything, every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of the tree yielding seeds. To you it shall be for meat." So He's giving the herbs and the fruit of the trees bearing itself, and then for you it shall be for meat. So He says to use this shall be for meat. MEAT. Okay, we have to go on because I don't know what that means yet. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to every thing that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. I guess the herbs. So, are we supposed to be vegetarians? We're not supposed to eat meat. Is that what it's saying? I don't know. I don't understand it. Let's keep going. And God saw everything that He hath made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were in the sixth day. Okay, so Genesis chapter 2, verse 1. Thus the heaven and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day God ended His work which He had made, and He rested on the seventh day from all His work which He had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it He had rested from all His work which God created and made. These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created, in the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens. So I think we're leading into more of the story of Adam and Eve right now. But so I'm just gonna stop right there. It's so the fifth, the sixth, the seventh day. He put um, uh, the fowl in the air on the earth, so it can multiply. After its kind, he put the whales in the sea, so it can multiply after its kind. He put the beast and everything that creepeth on the earth, and all they did was creep on the earth, right? Just creeping, crawling, and multiplying. And and then um, he created man after us and after our image, right? So insinuating that there can possibly, you know, be a premortal existence, because I mean, this might offend some of the believers of the faith, that don't believe in a premortal life. But I mean, Genesis chapter that 1 says, that God created man in the image of us, right? So using plurality rather than singularity, or you know, yeah. And so, like, with that being said, that it could be, like, why would he say that, right? In the image of us, I mean, there was only one verse that said that, but I mean, I think that's pretty significant to pinpoint. Whether it's, you know, we're gonna take it as what it is. I don't know. It just seems like it's important in some ways, right? You know, and then he then had placed a status on man, saying that they would have dominion over everything that creepeth on the earth, which is all the fowls, all the beasts, and all the whales of the seas, right? That creepeth the earth. Um, and then he declared that the plants and the herbs and the grass is and the fruit trees were for the purpose of meat, right? So I'm thinking, since we are kind of like, well, people can take this and interpret it as, okay, well, man are supposed to eat plant, right? Because you say for the purpose of meat is maybe that's the word I'm saying, for the purpose of nutrition to eat, right? But I mean, like when you feed a cow or animals these things, right? So plants are for the purpose of eating, right? But then in the life cycle of the animal life cycle or the life cycle in itself, right? The circle of life, right? Like you have every animal was eating every other animal or whatever, right? And you have to, and you have maybe the king of the jungle, right? And they can, the reason why they're king of the jungle is because you know carnalistically, if that is even a word, yeah, they protein, right? So technically, I'm not sure. I'm not going to use the word right or wrong to eat meat, right? Because I mean, people believe what they believe, anyways. But the law again, using the principle of association, right? Technically, if one animal that was like lower species and the higher species eats that animal, they're still eating something that's a byproduct of what that species was eating, which is plants, right? So you can say, well, there's plants in there somewhere. um, yeah, so I don't know, but yeah, so then by the seventh day, and God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because in it he had rested from all of his work which God created and made, right? And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all of his work which he had made. So the seventh day he sanctified. So it says he blessed the seventh day and sanctified it. You know what I mean? Like obviously, all the other days was of great importance, right? But on the seventh day, since he sanctified it, it's probably more of an important day than the rest, right, of the days. Shoot, when I know I worked all week, right, and I get my week days or my weekend, those days are sanctified to me. You know what I mean? Like, the weekends might be my most important days. Not to like not to like you know lessen the sanctified Sunday or anything like that, right? But I'm just saying for myself. You know what I mean? Like I get spend time with family. I get to spend time with people I care about. Um, spend time for myself. You know what I mean? Getting rejuvenated for the week. Because you take a beating during the week, especially when you work for companies that like micromanage your productivity. Shoot, man, you get But yeah, think about your day off, guys. What I mean? How are you sanctifying it? You know what I mean? Like, how do you help yourself on your day off? You know, to make it more meaningful, right? Rather than just, oh, I'm just probably, you know, take time for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, don't be so So, okay, this is my personal opinion, right? An active moving body doesn't mean that it's more important than a person that's maybe stays at home and enjoying time for themselves, right? Because like the way I see it is when you're busy body, even if it's on your weekend, right? You're saying, hey, look, I'm spending time doing this and doing that, right? Making memories or whatever, right? Yeah, that can be great. But like, are you like really like making yourself feel better? Like sometimes going to parties, even though it's on your day off, man, you come back with a headache. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. But yeah. Um, I mean, there's not much to it. You know, I think the thing we got to take from these from the fifth and the sixth and the seventh day is the seventh day was sanctified, right? So that's probably the most important out of all the days that it took from to create his work.